This is CJ with the GOAT Sports Talk. And of course, we know we're getting prepared to see Game 4. Hey, Cleveland is down 3-0, and it looks like it could be a sweep, man. Golden State has been playing awesome the whole series, and, it was a very tight game, just like I expected. I felt that, of course, if you watch the initial, pregame show that I did, pretty much just talking about feeling that the game was more than likely going to be close, and Cleveland might be able to pull away and have a comfortable finish. And it looked like what was happening, and just while I was watching the game, of course we know that the game got close. It was a point when Cleveland had a lead, but no lead is really comfortable with Golden State, and of course they were able to close. And if you look at the box score, of course we're just going to kind of briefly go over this box score. You see here really in the fourth quarter was the difference, because Cleveland had a plus 11 third quarter, which was amazing. They hadn't had a good third quarter all series. They finally had it. They pushed comfortably into that fourth quarter, but we know what happened. Of course, Golden State went on a run towards the end. Kevin Durant hit a big shot to basically put them up officially for that quarter, and pretty much the rest was history. We could talk about what happened at the end of the games, but we're going to basically kind of go inside the box and kind of just look at what happened. Now, first, we're going to just start with Golden State. Of course, we know the man who's been very consistent throughout the series, which is Kevin Durant. He's played awesome the whole series. He had 31, 8, and 8. He had basically, 0. He wasn't plus or minus. He was effective. And of course, we know that across the board, for the most part, the winner is going to have a lot of those pluses in this side. Now, looking at his overall game, he had 4 assists. So he really wasn't looking for other people. And that's the thing to me, is that, what Cleveland hasn't been doing is actually forcing Kevin Durant to be a facilitator. Surprised with the amount of one-on-one offense that he saw all night. He did kind of have a slowed down third quarter, which is part of the reason why they only had 22 points for Golden State that quarter, because, Kevin Durant couldn't really get anything going. So, when you look at it, he had a good game. Of course, you got to give him another A, man. I mean, another solid A+. He wasn't in foul trouble. He stayed engaged in the game, even though in the third quarter he wasn't really all involved in it. 10 for 18 from the field, 4 for 7 from the three-point line, 7 for 8 from the free throw. So, good game. We're going to go on to, of course, Draymond Green as well. 8, 7, and 8. That's okay. That's his game. He's more of a Swiss Army knife. He's a jacker of all trade, but a master of none. And that's okay, because of the fact that, in this particular team, he's not called to be the main scorer. Can he put up big points if he needs to, a 25 to 30-point game? Yes, he can. He did that in Game 7 last year. He's had over 30 points, had a valiant effort in that game, but it wasn't enough for them to come out with the victory, of course, as we know. But he, again, was in foul trouble. Now, if you watch the pregame show, I said that was going to continue for him, that they were really targeting him, and a lot of the mismatches that he had, as far as with having to sometimes come up and guard LeBron, who's too quick and too strong for him, and also at times having to mix it up with the switches when Kevin Love would get on him in the pick and roll situations, which we'll talk about. There's certain things that are going on with Cleveland that just doesn't make sense as far as consistency goes. But, of course, he had 5 fouls. There was a time when LeBron had the ball. He could have attacked him with the 5 fouls and got him out of the game. Kind of, put a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth of Draymond Green to sit on the bench with 6 fouls while the game was basically going away. But we know certain things happen and how the game ended up anyway. This guy, Zaza Pachulia, 0 for 3, only good for fouls. He's going to basically try to agitate people. That's his game. That's what he does. He's not going to score. He's really not going to do anything. It's kind of amazing, because when he was in Atlanta, he was actually much more of an effective player if you look at his stats. But since he's basically been, over in in Golden State, he's basically just completely, his offense is non-existent. Even though he wasn't a good offense player, at least he'd put up a little bit of points and get you some boards. But this time he's not getting anything. 1 rebound, 1 assist. No real production out of him, but not really needed. They got a W. Stephen Curry, man, 8 for 19, 5 for 9, hit some clutch shots that kept him in games, hit some big three-pointers. Great on the boards, man. 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. The guy is really playing, a big game out there. He's playing bigger than his size by basically leading the team in rebounds this game. And then Klay Thompson, another big game. The guy started out scorching hot, which kept him in the game because LeBron was just straight acting a fool out there, man, in the first half. Like he was before, because he has to keep them in games. And that's something we're going to talk about as well. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Again, he's not looking to facilitate and score. Looking to score, looking for a shot, catch and shoot. That's his game. 6 3-pointers. These guys had a playoff record in 3-pointers, I believe, in one of the other games. And then they had a record in the first quarter and a record in a half in terms of the amount of 3-pointers, which kept him in the game, and he was a big part of it. He's had an amazing game, man. The last 2 games, you knew eventually he was going to wake up. It was just a matter of when. He played bad all playoffs, but he's a guy that he's a laser focused guy, and when he gets going, he just is hot. Now, when you look at the bench production of Golden State has been telling. Very good bench production. Of course, nobody was in double figures, but look what you're talking about. Livingston, he's giving you 6 points. He's basically, when these little buckets occur with like Livingston, when he's getting an alley-oop dunk, when he's able to go around and he's able to get a little shot, that keeps the flow of the offense going, because sometimes, Klay, Curry, or Durant is not going to get their shot, but if somebody else can get their shot, they're able to get those guys set up. David West had 7 points. He's not called to be the same guy he was in the past when he was with New Orleans, with the old New Orleans Hornets team, or he was with the Pacers team. He's not called to be a big scorer, but he is giving some production. When you look at Iguodala, big defensive play. Iguodala had a good all-around game coming off the bench, but primarily his defensive stop at the end with LeBron at the corner 3 didn't happen because he was able to knock the ball away. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 big steals. He's clutch when it comes to defense, okay? And that's the reason why he's there. So, of course, the former Finals MVP with 30 minutes, it shows you the importance, and he was part of that, what you call their death lineup, where they really had Kevin Durant at the 5, pretty much Draymond at the 4, him at the 3, Klay Thompson at the 2, and Stephen Curry at the 1. That is a very good lineup to close the game, because it gives you a lot of versatility on the floor, ball handling, some shooting, some defensive as well. And because of certain people that are not playing well at times, it makes sense, and we're going to get into that. Now, going down into the box score. The box score for Cleveland. Starting at the top, you're going to look at Kevin Love. Of course, we know what happened in the first couple of games. Kevin Love scored 20-plus points. He grabbed a ton of boards, especially in Game 1. Well, actually, he had 15 points and 21 rebounds. He had about 27 points and about 7 boards Game 2. He hit some shots early on, but it's amazing that his offense is really not impactful over the course of the game, because he doesn't have an offense for some reason. Like in the second half, he has established himself early. He's aggressive. He's setting up. He's getting to the post, and then all of a sudden they go away from it. So I don't know what's wrong with Cleveland and their inconsistency. Also, Kevin Love just seems to have a problem at times finishing around the rim. Even just like on a little baby hook or whatever, gathering himself. It's very weird to see it because he's such a big guy. He's actually a long guy. You got guys that are tall, but he's actually pretty long. He has long arms. He has good strength. And I don't know why he's just not able to finish a little bit better in and around the paint at times. And, but he's effective for some reason in the first half with establishing himself. He's just a bear for these guys. He's just bigger than anybody else that Golden State puts out there outside of really, Zaza Pachulia. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're doing pick and rolls, and they're switching him on Draymond, and Draymond is getting ate up down low, or Curry or whoever is guarding him, and they're picking up fouls. So especially Draymond Green, he just picks up a ton of fouls this whole series. And it's understandable because you're going up against a couple of very good offensive players in LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, but primarily the mismatch between him and Kevin Love on a low block is just freaking child's play. And I don't know why it's not attacked more often. Anyhow, looking at his game, he had 9 points. He was 1 for 7 from the field, man. Hit 1 3-pointer in 37 minutes. I mean, crazy. But he hit 6 free throws, but he wasn't in double digits. I think that he needed to have around 15 points in order for Cleveland to have won the game. But we'll talk about other things, because when it comes to a team, not everybody has to play perfect or play well, but you have to have a good chunk of their people playing their role. He did have 13 rebounds, however. But again, the team still got out-rebounded, okay? I want to say it was 44-37, okay? He had the same amount of rebounds as Steph Curry. He did a great job on the boards. He led their team in rebounding, but it just wasn't enough as far as overall his game. Now, he did have 6 steals, meaning that he basically was involved in basically 6 turnovers, forcing 6 turnovers or having 6 takeaways. So he was active defensively. You got to give him that. He was active on the defensive boards. You got to give him that. Offensively, he just didn't have it going for whatever reason at home. Now, LeBron had an outstanding game. You see there, 46 minutes. I mean, I don't even know what they're going to do, what he can do. I'm going to be honest, LeBron, he was hitting jumpers, and I did say that he did need to mix it up to conserve his energy. In the fourth quarter, as things got tough, he wasn't attacking as much. He was settling for jumpers. I just don't know why he is like this at times. And, of course, a lot of people do say he's more Magic than Jordan, and that's okay. It's just that, even Magic got aggressive when he needed to get to offensively, especially, when Kareem was declining, and when Kareem left, he got more offensively aggressive. If you look at basically the offensive numbers of, even Magic Johnson towards the end of his career, he actually became more of a scorer. He was a better shooter from the field, from 3. He was just basically more efficient, and he was scoring more points because they needed him to. Kyrie and him had turns to basically hit shots offensively. Of course, we'll talk about Kyrie's situation, but LeBron did have a point where he could have, it was basically a turning point of the fourth quarter, to be honest. He could have drove right. Now, I know on the play, if you go back and examine it, you had Klay Thompson on the right corner guarding Kyrie Irving, and you basically had, Draymond Green with 5 fouls guarding LeBron. Draymond cannot guard LeBron. Let's just keep it all the way 100. Nobody can guard LeBron. The only guy that can kind of keep up himself in front of him, not really guard him, but make it a little bit tougher for LeBron, is really Andre Iguodala. And that's just, that's really more just hype more than anything. It's really not effective. Nobody can really stop LeBron when he puts his head down or he wants to get a bucket. If he misses a shot, it's because he just missed it or whatever. I mean, that's literally what it is with LeBron at this point, and how dominant he is offensively and imposing his will. I did say that he needed to probably score around 40 to 50 points. He ended up with 39, so that didn't happen. I did say that Kyrie needed to have a 35-plus point game. He had that. And he had, we'll talk about him a little bit, but LeBron, he just ran out of gas, to be honest. And a lot of people getting on him. I don't think people understand the exertion that you have to play 46 minutes in an intense playoff game when you're trying to protect home after being down 0-2, having to guard the best player on the other side while basically shouldering the load of offense. And you have to put in all this effort to keep your team in game so the game doesn't get so far away. And he just ran out of gas. Everybody says he's not aggressive at the end of games, but if you go back into Miami, when they were able to have those different units where they could rest LeBron a little bit and bring him back in, where they might have Wade on the floor with Ray Allen, and they could basically sustain some kind of, or you might have, Bosh with Dwayne Wade, and they can sustain a run or sustain the lead while LeBron is sitting down for a few minutes, and then they bring him back in right when they know, okay, we need you to go hard. A lot of people are talking down on LeBron. I mean, if anybody who's really sincere, watch some of the old tapes of the time when he had the first and second series against Golden State. Go back and watch the game when their 7-game series against San Antonio Spurs. I mean, watch these series and see that LeBron was very aggressive. Watch the whole playoff series against Indiana, against Boston, against Chicago, he can be aggressive. It's just that he didn't have any left in the tank, and that's what I think it was. So we're going to move on. Tristan Thompson. This guy, I've never seen anything like it. This guy literally 0 for 1 from the field. They're completely removing him out the game. Now, a lot of people are always talk about points this, points that. When you go into the second three-peat, the 96 to 98 Chicago Bulls, they had a guy named Dennis Rodman, who all he really did was there for rebounding. If he got you 6 to 8 points in a game, that was just icing on the cake. What he did was he gave the Bulls extra possessions. They were a great rebounding team, and they usually would win the rebound margin because of a guy like Rodman. And if Tristan Thompson is able to just grab his 10 rebounds a game, that would be 7+ more possessions for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who actually from the field shot around 45% from the field. And that would have been the difference in the game. I'm going to just keep it all the way real. So this guy playing this bad for 3 games is absolutely atrocious, considering he just re-upped on a deal. LeBron fought for him to get that contract that he got because LeBron saw him as a guy that was a good defender who is a very good rotational defender, meaning that if he switched off of on a perimeter player, he can hold his own for a few seconds, enough to keep the defense in line. And he was a guy that looked like a potential double-double guy as he was going to be entering into his prime. He just looked like that guy. Okay, I mean, he could finish around the rim. He can catch alley-oops. He can block shots at times, and he can get volume rebounds. You know, we're talking about 10 to 15 consistently, especially in the playoffs. And he just is not doing that, and I really believe that is the difference with the game. Tristan Thompson not being able to help them win the rebounding battle, a big Cleveland team, we're talking about a huge team with girth and strength that should be able to dominate the boards, has not dominated the boards this series. And it's in large part because of the fact that this guy's just not, he's AWOL, he's missing in action. Okay, I don't know if it's a Kardashian situation. I don't know what's going on. I'm not one to start rumors if it's something not factual. I don't like to really discuss it. Okay, but something's going on. All right, now I don't know. I don't know what this guy's, but we'll talk about it as we kind of get into what Cleveland needs to do. But going on to Kyrie Irving, amazing game, man. Had some of the best, most amazing layups I've seen ever. Okay, we're talking about some straight Rucker Park playground type of and one mixtape, the Professor Skip to My Lou type finishes. I mean, this Rod Strickland spinning off the glass with the reverse English, okay, with the Windex shining on the window, man, finishes. Okay, I mean, the guy was phenomenal. His aggressiveness was amazing. He didn't hit any threes. I didn't like the step back shot. I felt like he should have just taken Klay Thompson off the bounce and just put pressure on him, man. Keep that man on skates. And, and that was one of the other things that happened, of course. And that was really the difference of the game. But I really believe over the course of 4 quarters, you got to look at the body of work of the team. And they just didn't get the job done offensively. They were pretty sharp. They shot too many threes to my liking, considering that they were getting a lot of stuff in the paint. I would have liked to have seen them kind of go inside more with Kevin Love and LeBron as far as on the post. It's obvious that this team does not have a consistent identity and a system that they can rely on as of right now. I don't know, but what they were doing was fantastic over the course of the game with some of the isolation play, some of the way they were playing defense at times. Even though Golden State Warriors scored a bunch of points, there was a lot of opportunities offensively that off of turnovers that they were generating. Now, J.R. Smith had an amazing game, man. He showed up big. I did say that he was going to have a better game because he was going to see his daughter. I believe, he's an emotional guy, and, he needed to see his family, his daughter. I talked about that before. I said that he was probably going to have about 4 to 5 3-pointers, and that's what I was expecting out of him, and he had that. He had a good game. He had some stupid bonehead fouls, but that's what you get sometimes. when you're playing defense against the best offensive team ever assembled. Okay. The bench, I mean, look at the bench. The bench they didn't even go deep into their bench. I'm surprised they didn't play Derek Williams and Channing Frye. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. But again, coach's decision, as you saw. Corver hit 2 3-pointers. Deron Williams, I mean, he's basically a no factor. I mean, he's literally what Deron Williams has done in this particular playoff series is going to make it very hard for a team to trust that he could be a solid veteran backup point guard when you get this kind of production from him. He had a couple of games where he looked good against Boston, but now he's just a former shell of himself, completely just AWOL. And this is a guy that, it's sad to see a guy at 32 years old, his career just goes like this, considering that you would just think he would have more years left. Richard Jefferson, he had some loose balls, man. He had some jump balls. I know it doesn't show up in the box score. He only had 2 rebounds, 1.1 assists, but he had a lot of energy that he brought to the floor. Anybody who watched that and sees the box score would be surprised that this is all he did. But if you watched, he was winning a lot of balls as far as like loose balls. He was very aggressive. I mean, his energy was amazing. So you cannot always look at the box score to the energy that he gave. Shumpert is just 2 free throws, 0 for 3. I mean, I'm sometimes even wondering, like, what in the world is going on with Shumpert, too. So they got to get more out of him, man. I mean, it's crazy. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up, man. Look at the overall box score. They had only 12 turnovers. I like that with Cleveland. 18 compared to 18 with Warriors. They won the turnover battle. They lost the rebounding battles. We saw assists. They only had 17 assists off of, how many field goal makes? 40. You cannot do that. When you look at the ball being moved around with Golden State, they had 40 field goals made, and they had 29 assists out of it. That is very good. They got to the line, 24 times to hit 22, 21 of 25 for Cleveland. Not bad. But the three-point shots is very telling. 16 out of 33. When you're hitting at that clip, the effective field goal rate, you're basically scorching hot from 3. Cleveland, 12 for 44, 27%. They need to shoot less threes and get true open threes off of basically rotational play. So that concludes the inside the box score. And, pretty much we're going to get prepared to just kind of primarily just talk about what Cleveland needs to do. So that should be it. We'll be on to the next one.